The Celtic board is getting absolutely slammed by a top pundit. Rangers and Celtic are locked in a transfer battle for a rising Scottish star, and Kieran Tierney has just backed Martin O'Neill's latest Ibrox call. Plus, we've got major transfer updates and a brutal prediction about one of our January signings. It's been another dramatic 24 hours in paradise, but first make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Hugh Keevins has just launched an absolutely scathing attack on Celtic's hierarchy, accusing them of stepping back while Martin O'Neill is left to clean up the mess for a second time this season. When Brendan Rodgers resigned, O'Neill was asked to step in on an interim basis. He steadied things, kept Celtic competitive, and restored a sense of order during a turbulent spell. He was then moved aside for Wilfried Nancy. The gamble failed quickly. Nancy lasted just 33 days, oversaw a damaging slide that cost 12 points in the title race, and ended with a cup final defeat. The club turned back to O'Neill to firefight once more. Writing in Record Sport, Keevins did not spare the board. O'Neill is now, as will be the case at Rugby Park on Sunday, the man in charge of damage control, pushed to the front in order to cope with the most taxing period of the season on the park and any other competent business that arises off the field while he's at it. Pushed to the forefront while other members of the club's hierarchy, to their eternal shame, retreat into the distance and let Martin get on with it. The criticism extended to recruitment. Celtic's punishing schedule of League, European and Scottish Cup fixtures would tax the physical energy and test the psychological resolve possessed by a reputedly reliable squad of players. But that is not what O'Neill has been left with at his disposal, is it? He has a belatedly assembled group of loanees selected from an inventory of European football's Who's He category. There's no disguising the reliance on short-term additions. Several arrived late, and O'Neill has had little time to mould them into a cohesive unit. Some have delivered decisive moments. Junior Adamu and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain have both struck late goals in recent games, keeping Celtic within reach in the title race. Rugby Park presents another stern examination. Kilmarnock will make it physical and uncomfortable on their plastic pitch. Celtic need composure and resilience. O'Neill is back at the helm, again carrying the weight. Keevins' message is clear. The spotlight should not stop at the dugout. Now for the main story, as Rangers and Celtic are both locked in a transfer battle for highly rated Dundee defender Luke Graham. Graham, 22, has attracted the interest of both Glasgow Giants due to his impressive Premiership performances for Dundee this season. The centre-back helped Falkirk to promotion from the Championship last season while out on loan and has returned to his parent club to become a regular under Stephen Pressley. Graham has made 30 appearances across all competitions for the D, who are sitting 10th in the top flight as it stands. He was the subject of interest from English clubs last month, and sources have revealed that both Rangers and Celtic are keeping tabs on his progress. The Courier reported earlier this month that Dundee had turned down a club record bid for Graham, but it's unclear which side saw their approach rejected. Rangers and Celtic are both eyeing a move for his signature in the summer and are set to face competition from the English Championship. Speaking on the Transfer Insider podcast, the source explained that as we normally see over in Scotland, if there's a player performing well outside of the old firm, Rangers and Celtic will try to sign them. Graham has attracted that interest because of how well he has done for Dundee this season. Dundee did well to keep hold of him in the January window because there was interest from the likes of Queen's Park Rangers and Portsmouth in the English Championship. They both had inquiries rejected for the Scotland under-21 international. In other news, David Watson has addressed the growing transfer speculation surrounding his future for the first time as links continue to gather pace ahead of the summer window. Celtic have been credited with an interest in the Kilmarnock midfielder, with it suggested the club have explored the possibility of a pre-contract agreement. They're far from alone, however. Interest has also been noted from Aberdeen, while Kilmarnock recently rejected a £500,000 bid from Bolton Wanderers. Watson is regarded as one of the most promising young midfielders in the SPFL and, despite only turning 21 in December, has already built up significant experience at senior level. The academy graduate has made 130 appearances for Kilmarnock, scoring 13 goals in the process, and the club would be due substantial compensation should he leave after developing through their youth system. For now, though, the midfielder insists he's blocking out the noise and leaving any transfer discussions to his representatives. Speaking about the rumours, Watson made clear his focus remains firmly on his current club. I'm not dealing with the interest, it's my agent who will do that. I'm just focused on what I'm doing and I'll take it day by day and game by game. I wasn't aware of what was going on during the window. I was focusing on what I had to do on the pitch. Even when I was suspended, I was still at the games. I always focus on Kilmarnock before anything else. It's the type of person I am. I'm not fussed about outside noise. I'd rather concentrate on what's happening on the pitch. It's the same now. That mindset will be welcomed by Kilmarnock supporters, with the club still heavily reliant on Watson's consistency and leadership despite his young age, especially as they battle it out near the bottom of the league. Whether Celtic formalise their interest or not remains to be seen, but Watson's emergence has ensured his name will continue to feature in recruitment conversations across the league. In other news, Kieran Tierney has added his voice to growing calls for an increased away allocation when Celtic travel to Ibrox, backing hopes that the fixture can move closer to the atmosphere that once defined it. Under Scottish Cup regulations, Celtic are entitled to request up to 20% of the capacity at Ibrox Stadium. While a full 20% remains unlikely, supporters are hopeful the club can at least secure something closer to the old allocation of around 7,500 tickets, a far cry from the reduced numbers seen in recent seasons. Interim boss Martin O'Neill has already spoken publicly about his desire to see larger away sections return, and now Tierney has echoed that sentiment. The boss wants all the tickets that Celtic are entitled to. The left-back knows better than most what a packed away end can mean in these fixtures, having played during a period when both clubs brought thousands of supporters to each other's ground. Speaking to Record Sport, Kieran Tierney reflected on some of his standout derby memories and the role the crowd played in them. I'm sure both sets of fans would agree that they would prefer to get back to what it was because that makes it the spectacle it is. For me, it's the biggest game in the world, and the atmosphere is a massive part of that. It can help, 100%. For us, we want as many Celtic fans as possible there because I'll be asked for hundreds of tickets. You want as many fans there as you can. Hopefully, we can learn the outcomes of talks in the near future, and Celtic fans can prepare in their thousands to make the journey to Govan. Lastly, Seaferry says Celtic's January signing Benjamin Arthur won't play under Martin O'Neill this season after his loan from Brentford. From Wilfried Nancy being at the helm at the start of the month to Martin O'Neill swooping in, there was a lot of movement, including a change at the heart of defence. Celtic signed Benjamin Arthur from Brentford on deadline day after allowing Stephen Welsh to return to Motherwell and also cutting short Jamai Simpson-Pusey's season-long loan. But will Arthur feature for the champions of Scotland this season? Seaferry doesn't think so, as he explained on Open Goal. Ferry was baffled by the fact that Celtic had Welsh on board, yet allowed him to leave when he felt he was worthy of playing for the Hoops. Of course, in typical Celtic style, Welsh would score against Rangers in midweek on his return to Fir Park and dented their title hopes. But whilst Ferry thinks Arthur won't see the light of day, the rest of the Open Goal panel, including James McFadden, thinks the boys have too many games for that to be true. From O'Neill's first spell in charge to now, that's what he has continued to do, and you suspect that won't change. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.